Hi folks, wanted to show you how you can use a laptop charger. Here's the laptop charger. The output is 19.5 volts, that's DC, to charge up a 12 volt battery. These little batteries here are little AGM batteries. They're out of one of these candle power flashlights, those really bright flashlights. And the adapter that came with them, well, it no longer worked. But the batteries are still good. So I had no way of charging it. And without going out and buying a special little charger for these little batteries, the batteries are still good, but they wouldn't have been good for long if I couldn't have brought them back up and charged because they were low. And they're little rechargeable AGM batteries. This is what they are. You can see them here. So I'm going to show you is what I did. So I was able to use this laptop computer, which I no longer have the laptop, but the charger was still good. Now the output voltage is too high for the batteries themselves, so what I had to do was put it through a little motor controller, DC motor controller. And if I remember correctly, I believe this one here is capable of handling up to 20 amps. And I'm going to show you here with the multimeter display. Now each battery basically has its own charging voltage that it needs to be charged back up. And what I mean by charging voltage is it has a high mark on the charge. So in this case here, these particular ones are 14.4 volts. There are 6 volt batteries actually each, so that's not the total voltage per battery. But joined together to get 12 volts is the 14.4 mark. So I use this little DC controller module with an adjustable dial here, and it actually turns itself off. So you get no volts going into the batteries, and you can turn it on. And this is the adjusting dial. I'm going to show you here with the probes from the multimeter. A little bit difficult without a tripod set up, but we'll figure it out. Okay. You can see the output now that's going into the batteries is 14.41. So I'm basically just going to walk away from that and leave it for a few hours. Just let them batteries get a real good soak-in charge. Now I'm going to turn that little dial up just to show you. It won't hurt the batteries for the few seconds it's going to read the high voltage. So I'm going to turn the dial up a little bit. And I'm going to show you what happens. You can see the voltage has just jumped. So right now there is actually 17 volts going into these batteries, which I don't want. So I'm going to try and get my long finger here and adjust this little dial. There we go, it's coming down. It's going to take a few moments here to drop down to so you can see how it's working. It's adjustable. No, I'm losing my connections here. Well, you just get the understanding. A little motor controller here makes the current, the output current from the laptop charger, adjustable for the charging of the batteries. Now realistically, I can practically charge just about any battery with this, providing I'm within voltage range for the batteries themselves. And that's what I'm going to do. I have it set at basically 14.4, which that's the recommended voltage for these little batteries. And I'm just going to walk away and let them sit there and absorb this charge for the next, say, 3 or 4 hours. And then these little wee batteries here should be pretty much fully charged. There's no really way of telling if they're fully charged or not, but the maximum voltage is 14.4. I believe it's actually up to 15 volts. I can't remember here. I think you can see it. Now this is rated for the 6 volt. Maximum is 7.50. So joined together, 7.50 being the maximum, times 2 would be 15. But I'm not going to bring them as high as 15. I'm just going to leave it at the 14.4 because these batteries don't really need any kind of equalization charge. At that maximum point, that's the equalization charge. So I'm not going to equalize them because they do not need that. I'm just going to bring them to the low end, which is 7.20 for the 1, then times 2 would be 14.4. So that's where I'm going to leave them, the low end of the charge. And I'll basically walk away and come back a few hours later and unplug everything and call them charged up. Give them a good couple hours of absorbing that 14.4 voltage, and I'll call it over at that point. These are just little wee batteries, no real crucial importance here other than keeping them charged up. So that's how you do it, folks. Little DC motor controller. These things are rated on the amp scale, so some of them are rated for 4 amps, 5 amps. This particular one I believe is 20 amps. I'm sure you can get some at 30 amps, 40 amps, etc. And a little cap goes back on top to close it all together. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you have not, and thank you very much for those that have.